Shenanigans of Pod.
From Atlanta,
where heroes still wear masks.
it's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired.
So let's talk about some stuff.
I don't know. We've been away for a bit.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back. So let me catch you up.
Okay.
First, the earth cooled, and then the dinosaurs came, and they got too big and fat, and they turned into oil. And then Charles started wearing all of Princess Diana's clothes. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So we're not going to catch you up on every single thing that's happened since our last episode because we've lost track.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, stuff happened, and we got away from it, but we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
Let's welcome Brittany to the stage. Let's have Brittany keep her clothes on and listen to the podcast. How about that?
How about it?
All right. So first of all, thanks to two mutual friends, I've started watching the animated Harley Quinn.
Ah, you have indeed.
Try to guess who my favorite character is. You get one guess. Well, there's two possibilities. One is definitely better, but I would understand if you chose the other. So there's only two possibilities. And keep in mind, I'm only 9 episodes into season 1.
Okay. I'm gonna say either Dr. Psycho or Clayface.
You are wrong on both.
Interesting. Okay.
My favorite character is Bane. I'm gonna blow things.
If you have not seen the Harley Quinn cartoon, it actually started on the DC online thing, which
I think HBO has it now.
They do. Yeah, they bought out all the DC. So what happened was DC started their DC Universe Online, which was I subscribed because I got a good deal at the top, and they had that Titans show announced, the Teen Titans show, and I think they had Harley Quinn announced, and they had comic books, and they tried games and stuff, and Disney Plus came along and just blew them out of the water. Everybody.
Wow. It's hard to go up against the back catalog of the mouse.
Yeah,
seriously.
Exactly. And it was kind of funny because Disney Plus started around a year after DC Online went up, and around the time Disney Plus came out, I got an email from DC Online. Hey, because you subscribed, we're gonna knock your annual thing down like $40. Please stay. Please don't leave. It was kind of sad. And so basically what happened is like when they started porting stuff over to HBO Max, I was like, oh, that's the writing on the wall. It's gonna fold. So what it is now is you can still subscribe to DC Online, and it's all their back catalog of comic books, which I loved. It was great because I was able to read stuff from the 80s. I read Crisis on Infinite Earths and The Long Halloween and all these things that I never had a chance to read.
See, if I wasn't behind by roughly 3,000 movies and about 900 hours of TV shows and about 3,000 books, I would delve into the golden silver age of comics and stuff like that. But no, the same reason for some reason I just have a mental block. I will not watch any animated Star Wars. I just won't do it. I'm sorry. I know I'm missing out. I have to budget my time, and I will go.
I respect that.
Any live action stuff. I'm there. I'm 100% on. But there's just if I had started when it first came out, maybe, but I can't. It's like a mental block. I had your box set for a year.
I mean, it's on Disney Plus, all of it.
I just couldn't. I just can't.
There are literally in, so they did a few, but the two big series they did were Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. And right. there's a 2-part episode of Rebels I would put up against New Hope and Empire. They're just that good.
Really?
Yeah, it's just they build
after after we're done here, you'll send me the titles, because
Okay.
I'll check out a 1-2 punch that you highly recommended. Who knows? Maybe something will flip in my brain. I'm going,
Yeah.
oh, I need to watch this all. Probably not.
Right.
But what's really sad is that I had no intention ever of watching Harley Quinn, just because I just don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was over at Pat and Suhaila's house
Mm-hmm.
and hanging out, and have you started watching that? I went, no. Like, all right, just a second. Played the first 5 minutes. The writing is whip smart. They don't have any problems dropping the F-bombs and going there with some weird shit, and it just keeps getting. And then of course I was hooked, and I went home that night and I watched like the first 4 episodes. And then Bane was there. I'm gonna blow you up. I'm gonna blow you up.
If you haven't seen it, they have gone completely sideways, and it's kind of straight up making fun of all the DC heroes, DC villains, but in a clever way. Not, it's basically they're making fun of the Tom Hardy Bane is what they're making fun of.
Oh gosh, and man, he's just like a sad character, but his comic relief is only even touched by one of your other guesses, Clayface.
Yes.
And of course Jim Roush as
Jim Rash as
Psycho.
No, Dr. Psycho is
and he also
Tony
plays
Hale. Tony Hale
right.
is from Arrested Development.
That's right.
He's Dr. Psycho. Yeah,
that's right. And it's Jim Roush is the Riddler.
He's the Riddler. Yeah,
he's the Riddler. Yeah, and of course, shockingly, after like about 3 seconds, I went, "Oh man, is that Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn?"
Yes. Yep.
And then a little one, I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'm feeling it. She's working it. I'm okay." She finally dropped the kind of new, the new Joyzy sound.
See, that was my issue at the beginning, because I saw
it's Mr. J
at one of the cons. It was Comic-Con or whatever, 2018 probably. They released a little 30-second teaser of the cartoon, and I did the same thing. I was like, Kaylee Cuoco, but then it was like, oh, that's Lake Bell. She's really good.
As Ivy,
as Poison Ivy, and then they announced that Alan Tudyk was playing the Joker.
Yeah, and Clayface, and
that I didn't know. And then
Lex Luthor, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes,
Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
And
at that point, I was like, this voice talent. I mean, you had me at Tudyk. I mean,
of course.
If it was just Tudyk and no other names I knew, I'd be like, I'm still in.
Right. And the genius thing they did was Batman is being played by Diedrich Bader. Diedrich Bader from Drew Carey Show and all those stuff.
Whose line is in?
No. Yeah. He was. No.
Was he on there?
Office Space and all that stuff. No.
No, he was in Office Space.
Yeah, Diedrich Bader. You're thinking of Ryan. No, you're thinking of Ryan Stiles. Diedrich Bader.
Ryan Stiles he definitely was on Whose Line Is It?
Right. Diedrich Bader was the neighbor in Office Space. No, man.
That's right. He was. All right.
But they cast him as Batman. He did an entire series called Batman the Brave and the Bold, an animated series that was like as far opposite of this as you can be. It was, imagine the epitome of the Adam West 50s, like, let's do it, chum Batman, and it's brilliant. It's so funny. The greatest believe it or not, the greatest character on that animated show, sidebar, Your Honor, is John DiMaggio, who's Bender and other voices. He plays Aquaman, and he plays it like Adam West on crack, and it's unbelievable. Hello, chum. It's just so brilliant.
The Aquaman on Harley Quinn is just like over the top, and of course I'm a big fan of this version of Lex Luthor.
Yep, he's good.
Haven't gotten too far into it. So anyway, I'm watching that.
Yep.
It's a good thing I only have 4 more episodes of season 1 and all of season 2. So I'm doling them out very slowly.
I did the same thing
to savor.
Well, it's funny too, because like I said, when I saw it was Kaylee Cuoco, and I was like, she's not even doing the accent. And that's kind of part of the deal. The way Arlene Sorkin created the character was with the whole Mr. J, the Brooklyn accent or the whatever. And I was like, all right, I'll see. And then I watched the first episode, and I was the opposite. I was like, they're trying so hard to be edgy and bloody and drop F-bombs. And I was kind of turned off, and I let it sit for a week or two. And then I was like, all right, let me watch episode 2 and 3 and 4, and it just gets better and better and better. And Kaylee Cuoco is brilliant. She found her rhythm as Harley, and she's insane in a different way than others have done.
Other iterations.
Yes.
Although she started off with the classic comic book Harley Quinn look, but when she broke up with Mr. J, adopted the Margot Robbie look.
Yeah, she
which may have also been taken from some of the comics.
Yeah, some of the comics, she does look like that. It's kind of an amalgam of all that stuff, but that's kind of where she went after, like in the comics. Like there's a couple of real like extreme versions of it, but that's another like classic iteration. But yeah, she doesn't wear the Harley Quinn outfit very much.
Great voice cast, and Jason Alexander as the cyborg landlord. Yeah,
it's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's a wonderful thing. Also on HBO,
yes,
as we take the 90 degree and an immediate other 90 degree to go right back to hit that brick wall. HBO also has a show called Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
I have heard about it. I have not seen it.
It's really good.
Okay.
I started watching just because Kate Winslet, she's got some chops, and HBO's been pulling in some of these movie stars to do decent TV, projects. And this is one of the limited shows. I thought, all right, let's check it out. It's good.
Okay. Yeah.
It's good. It's a murder / there's a lot going on. So I'm giving it my stamp of approval.
Okay. Well, I watch one of the podcasts I listened to. The host is from Philadelphia, and he was talking about how she went hard with the Philly accent.
Bird
with the Philly accent.
Well, not quite that hard, but
I can't do a Philly
accent. Right. I was about to say that sounds a bit more like the Bronx now. But she got it, and boy, I'll tell you, all the kids are going to be vaping after watching this show because, good grief, Mayor, what do you think? Well, let me think about it. Well, I think the killer is, she is like constantly vaping, like that little, I don't know, tit. That little nipple she has to keep popping into her mouth all the time.
Right.
And there's a couple of moments where you're like, oh gosh, the tension, and then bam, it comes out. It's highly recommend.
Okay.
Highly recommend. What have you been watching? Enough about me.
All kinds of stuff. I'm trying to remember what like the latest thing we were really into. Well, let's roll back on, if we're gonna go back to the HBO thing. Did you watch the Snyder Cut?
I did.
Okay.
And I thought, yes, that is a much improved thing. It's still a bit of a mess, but
it's a movie as opposed to whatever that other thing is.
I don't know. I mean, poor DC. We've got DC Online. Here comes Disney Plus. I'm Bane, and I'm going to be on. No, fuck. It's DC. It's almost like Marvel is a military infantry that just marches in lockstep and mows the enemy down, whereas DC is fighting guerrilla, where they come at you from nowhere with this, and then they get destroyed, and they come at you with that, and that does really well, and then they do something else, and it's really a bad idea. And whereas Marvel just like, our worst performing property still did $500 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's Feige.
Yeah, they just again, we've talked about it ad nauseum. They had a plan and they stuck to the plan, and DC had no plan and still doesn't have a plan.
No, no. Even after all their, I mean, if they made a big announcement that just said, "We're sorry, DC, year zero, we're rebooting everything from ground up. Everyone's fired. New Wonder Woman, new Batman, new Superman. We're actually going to do a decent Green Lantern's Marvel, isn't it? No, that's DC. Yeah, that's DC.
And it
we're
was
going to
a
do
horrible
a decent
movie. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
you've reached the big time, Ryan. Boom! Shot in the back of the head by Deadpool. America, you're welcome.
Well, speaking of, there is a new Batman. We know that, and having
it's
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Going back to the HBO thing, having just watched, I watched Tenet, the what's his name, Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah, I've been sitting on that one because it's long.
It is long.
And you really, I mean, it's something that makes, I've been told it's a real thinker, and I want to be in the right mental state to watch that.
It is a pay attentioner. Yes, you do have to think, but they pretty much lay out for you what's going on.
Oh, it's a little more straightforward than I've been told.
I thought so. I mean, yeah, there's high concept going on.
Right. Well, there's some people who don't understand, they watch Memento and go, I don't get it. He didn't the basic concept of the entire show. You missed it.
Right. They explain it, and you got to kind of be like, okay, that's what's going on, and you roll with it. And it is long. I like, because a friend of mine at work was watching it, and he was like, I don't know if I like this or not, because I don't know if I understand what's going on. And then he got to another point. He's like, okay, I do understand what's going on. And after he watched it, he said, I really did like it. I think, you got to watch it so we can talk about it. So I had a night, and I said, okay, let me give this a shot. And, 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, all right. And then all of a sudden it took off, and I was like, oh, good deal. Oh.
That's one thing that Nolan is very good at in his Batman films,
right?
Is definite high concept.
Yes.
I mean, yes. Memento and Inception, and apparently now Tenet, and I'm sure there's others that I'm missing off the top of my head.
Yeah, Tenet is one, if you wanted to, watching it twice through would cement it and kind of get what's going on. But they do, like I said, do explain it. But circling around, Robert Pattinson is in that, and he's excellent in it. And I was like, okay, I'm a little more jazzed about his Batman film. So
I said, after my complete freak out about Heath Ledger being Joker and then being so epically wrong,
guilty, Your Honor, I was exactly the same way.
I didn't freak out over Ben Affleck. I had my doubts, but I didn't freak out. Watched it. It was serviceable. I didn't think he was great.
It wasn't a great movie also. And I thought he was okay.
That's the other thing. He, you can only rise so far above the script and the director.
Right.
And, with the right script and director, he could have been a great Batman. Although I will say this, that chin poking out of that cowl, nobody should be able to go, I don't know who Batman is. Like, dude, it's Bruce freaking Wayne with that chin.
Again, I contend, going back, that George Clooney would have been a fantastic Batman if he hadn't been in the worst movie of all time.
God,
it's so terrible. And
but I can't hate Joel Schumacher.
You can't.
Because he did St. Elmo's Fire.
I am aware. Yes,
that's right. That's right. And we're still going to sit down and watch that and Magnolia.
No, we're not.
Magnolia, not as a double feature.
I will sit and watch St. Elmo's Fire at any time. I am not going through Magnolia again.
It's so good. I appreciate that kind of filmmaking. I'm a huge fan of Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay. Yeah.
Major fan. Pretty much anything he does, I'll check out. Although I did watch The Master, and I couldn't stand it. I think I fell asleep during parts of it.
Which one is that one?
That's that's one of his more recent ones. It's the thinly veiled take on L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics and
Oh,
Scientology,
right.
but wink, wink, it's not
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
that kind of thing.
it's not William Randolph Hearst. It's Charles Foster Kane.
Exactly. Only the names have been changed to protect the guilty.
Yes.
But a lot of people have just said that movie is just such a masterpiece, and I'm going, you know what? If a lot of people that I trust and appreciate their opinions say I was wrong about something, I'll go back and revisit it. There's certain movies and albums that I initially didn't like that I came back to and went, oh no, this is really good. So
Yeah.
well, we'll see. Circling back to HBO again, something that happened recently on HBO, a little reunion.
I have not watched that yet.
I did. I don't know why, because we're talking about the Friends reunion.
Right.
I remember watching the finale when it happened. I don't remember starting it. Like, maybe it was like West Wing for me. I ignored it for a couple seasons and then I couldn't ignore it anymore. And then I jumped in.
Yeah.
And I remember liking it, but it wasn't like the big cultural phenomenon for me that apparently, it was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I watched it and it was oddly endearing. I was very impressed by the way they handled it. I was waiting for some sour notes, and there wasn't any. They hit it all the good, all the good things they needed to do in about an hour and 45 minutes or so.
And that's a lot for a sitcom,
Yeah, and apparently they rebuilt the entire Friends set from scratch on the same soundstage they recorded it in.
Jeez.
Back then, and had the cast walk through and do this and that, and it was very, you learned a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and it actually made me, I want to maybe watch a couple episodes.
Yeah, I went through it when it was on, when it started, and I never went back to anything and watched it again. It was fine, and yeah, at the time it was kind of, because again, it was in the days of early, cable was around, but the big three networks were still, appointment television, and
right. Well, the only thing,
as I say,
the only thing they didn't address was why it was so cold in that studio, judging by yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, I don't know if they could get away with that kind of thing these days, although maybe, I don't know. But they did not address that. But they did, they addressed everything from, were Ross and Rachel on a break and all this other stuff. So it was
that was also part of it. I thought Jennifer Aniston's character was horrible. So she was a terrible,
her character
awful person.
From what I recall, the first couple of seasons, she came in because the Friends group was all of them, but not her.
At the time, yeah, in the episode. I remember that.
Right. And the first episode was her running away from her wedding because she was in a wedding dress. I'm guessing that's what it was.
Yep.
And that's how she kind of, because that's how she started. She started out as this very entitled, came from a wealthy family. So she felt very entitled, I guess. That's, and very snobby and very whatever. And as time went by, she kind of settled into, all right, I'm no longer, wealthy, and this is my life now, and I'm okay with it. And it, turned out okay for her, I guess, in the end.
Yeah, I fell off like the last couple of seasons. I think I watched the finale just to see where it went, and I was like, okay, that's an odd take on it, but okay, some of them got together and some of them didn't, and they kind of that show was on for like 10 years, so they kind of burned all the storylines.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it's Friends did it, The Simpsons did it, everyone's already done it.
Yeah,
And then the thing is that, I mean, I can watch an episode and go, oh, this is very similar to something that this show did. But they're doing it their way with their characters.
There's only so many stories,
Yeah. Or there's so many stories, but there's an infinite number of takes on that particular trope.
Yes.
Kind of like, flipping it around, kind of like, Wicked. It's not from Dorothy's point of view. It's from,
Yep.
And that's the kind of thing. and then we have The Wind Done Gone, which was, the take from, so that's an interesting thing. I'm very happy to hear that when the question was posed, do you guys ever think about maybe, getting together to do like a special, like a movie or something? And it was, generally was like, no, we left the characters where we wanted them to. And,
That's good.
but they kind of shunted it off to the showrunners, the creators, and went, this is their baby, that's up to them. And part of me went, hopefully they're not gonna, I'm not a big fan of reunions necessarily for more episodes. It's because it's so hit or miss.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they come back and it's like a band that's been broken up for 20 years. They reform and just are god awful.
Yeah.
But sometimes it could be good.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes
it works.
Yeah.
But I'm not as invested in Friends. If they did an Office reboot, I'd be like, I don't know how they could make that happen, but sure, I'll watch it. I mean, at a certain point, well, they said about the Friends, it's about being young in your 20s in New York. Well, they did their 20s, they ended the show where babies were happening and there's, people were getting married. So that setup, that premise for the show played out.
Now, but sometimes the characters can override a premise. I always go back.
Oh, of course. Yes.
I always go back to, I think one of the biggest travesties in history is that the sitcom Bosom Buddies. Remember that with Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari and Wendy Jo Sperber,
with a concept that would never fly today,
right?
Ever.
But also the show was so much better than that stupid concept.
Oh, exactly. It rose above the concept.
It was like, shit, we have to keep doing this concept, but we don't need that. We have this brilliant cast, and we just have to write. When they weren't even, they got away from it, of them dressing in drag. It was so dumb. But that's how, early 80s sitcoms were. It was like a trope, and it was a thing that we made and that we had to roll with. But that's how I always gauge things like that. It's like, this is so much better than its initial concept, that it's hamstrung by its own writing.
One of the interesting things that, spattered throughout the Friends reunion, they showed some outtakes, like from film that had never been seen before.
Oh, okay.
But they said, how are you cast and how did that go? And they showed
their auditions,
the pilot that Matthew Perry did, that they snatched him away from. It was about baggage handlers at LAX in the year like 2497 or something.
I've heard of this.
And they showed like a 45-second clip. And I'm like, oh my God. And of course, the Crane, Kaufman, and Bright. Yeah. They all saw that and went, I like him. This is never going to last. Let's sign him now.
Yeah.
Before other people discover how good he is. I'm like,
smart.
That made it through a pitch with a pilot order from a network.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yikes.
Well, in those days, I mean, pilot season was its own thing where people
would still is.
I know, but I mean, actors would go out and make a living just doing pilots that weren't going to go anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's what Jennifer Aniston said. She had done like 6 years of pilots. Like, I do a pilot, it goes nowhere, but that gets me enough money to just barely scrape by until the next pilot season, and then I do another one. And so anyway, I recommend it. It was fun.
We'll probably watch it
if you've watched any of the episodes. I mean, I haven't watched an episode of Friends probably since it went off the air, but I can remember a little bits.
I've seen reruns here and there.
Yeah,
I remember it very well. I remember a lot of the bits and the stuff from it, and there was because it was a thing. I mean, it was a big, we watched. It was a thing that we watched every week, until we got over the whole thing. But
could that show be any more popular?
I mean, it was all of that, catchphrases and hand gestures and all that stuff.
Now, on shows that are on their way out, that we're on, what's one of our favorite half hours that's come about in the last couple, 5-6 years?
Could be anything.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, baby.
Oh, that's right. They're doing their last season.
I don't know if it's canceled like that's it, we're done, or canceled like everyone agrees like, all right, we're going to do one more and then we're out. I don't know.
This will be technically season 7, I believe.
Is it 7?
I think it's
their
7.
third for
yeah, it'll be the third for NBC.
Yeah.
And yes, so I think it'll be technically 7. I guess, that's respectable.
No, hey, listen, we got five seasons and no movie for Community, and that limped through that 5th season.
Yeah.
To get to, I'm still waiting for the movie because I think there's a movie there, but
absolutely.
Apparently, oh gosh, I forgot his name. The showrunner for Community,
Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon. Apparently, he is committed to about 9,000 episodes of Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
7 years. Fans that basically want to punch him in the face every time they see him. Like, where's our Rick and Morty?
Well, yeah, they were, and he's a mess of a person.
Yes, I gather.
He's very much a mess of a person. But going back to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, did you hear about what they did? Was they were in the process of the beginning of the season, like we're filming the season, and I think it might have been pre-COVID. They got to a certain point and they said, we can't, with all the political and turmoil stuff, we have to, they scrapped 4 episodes, and started over so they could address some of the police brutality issues.
Oh,
yeah. They said, not only do we have an obligation, we have an opportunity to, we can't just ignore what's going on with the George Floyd things and all the, all this stuff. So we're still gonna be a comedy, but we're going to address what's going on with police. And
oh wow,
yeah,
I wouldn't have expected it from that show,
right?
Necessarily.
You think they would just hide from it.
I mean, not enough to scrap existing episodes, but okay, good. I'm impressed. I like
very
it.
much so. Very much.
I mean, I will say it. I have been very much not a fan of the lead.
Oh, Andy Samberg. Yeah.
Andy Samberg. I'm sorry.
I was the same way.
But this has won me over. Plus, gosh, the movie that Nick told me about, what's it called? Not Pasadena. It's the time travel movie that he did with the girl from How I Met Your Mother. The one that turned out to be the mother.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what movie you're talking about.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do meticulous show prep.
We do.
Meticulous. We know everything we're going to talk about. We research it. But anyway, he did a very interesting time travel film that is very smart in the way it was written. I was very impressed with Andy Samberg in that. So I'm like, I think I've been won over.
Palm Springs, is that what?
Yes, there you go. I knew it was the name of a city.
There you go. Yeah, Palm Springs. I had never even heard of it.
Dude, watch it.
Okay.
It is the way it folds itself out. You're like, huh, what? And then you're like, oh, damn. Hey, J.K. Simmons is in it. That's all you need to know.
J.K. Simmons. Oh my God.
That's one of there's about 20, 25 actors or actresses where even if it looks like it's a stupid piece of crap, oh, they're in it. All right, I'll check it out, because even if it is a dumb piece of crap, they are good in it.
Yeah.
I'm a big Helen Mirren fan. She's done some very questionable paycheck kind of films, but it's Helen. Yeah. But it's Helen Mirren. Oh yes, at her age and her career, she would have been a legend if she had retired like 30 years ago. Right. So anyway, so that's a bummer about losing Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but coming back from the dead. Guess what's coming back from the dead?
What?
Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
You are kidding me.
And the Venture Brothers.
Oh, they're doing movies. That's right.
And Metalocalypse have all been given movies.
Yes.
By Adult Swim. Now, whether it's going to be theatrical, I doubt. It'll just be movies on Adult Swim, I'm guessing. And I hope the Aqua Teen film is better than that other one, because when
Neil Peart was in that movie.
that's wonderful.
Right.
But you know that when when the best part of the movie is the announcements about the refreshments.
Yes.
Was that Mastodon? It was some,
yeah, because they think they were a local Atlanta band.
Kicking, we will kill you with a linoleum knife. That's wonderful. I was devastated to find they canceled the Venture Brothers TV show because
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Well, because it's kind of like Rick and Morty in the sense where they'll do one and then it'll be like 3 years before the next series comes out.
They were worse than Rick and Morty, believe it or not.
But the thing is that with that level of quality and writing, I mean, you can't force that kind of thing. That's why shows like that are specifically tailored for the model that Adult Swim has. They're on a, no one's expecting, things show up when they show up. It's not like it's September, it's fall, it's time for the new TV shows.
It's like
that doesn't happen.
It's like we always say, the BBC model is the right way to go. You do 10 of a thing or 12 or 9, whatever,
or 4
needs,
or 1,
4, and you put it out when it's done. And that's it. You don't put them out on a schedule. Yes, that kind of works, but you get better results.
There are some people that are equipped to crank out 25 episodes a year for 5 years, and there are some people who go, my story that I want to tell this season is only 6 episodes, and then I need to take a break for 2 years to get together the next thing. So as much as I want more of anything I like, I don't want it at the expense of the quality. So I'm a big fan of that model, even though having to wait really sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just because we're conditioned to, like, it's September, the new episodes of stuff are going to be starting, as opposed to, like Doctor Who, it's like, it'll be in the fall, maybe, and that's fine.
Yeah, Doctor Who's kind of, I think the pandemic has really fucked their schedule already.
Well, they have been shooting. I mean, they did a Christmas or a New Year's special this year, but they are filming this supposedly it's going to be Jodie Whittaker's last, and I think I think that's going to be her third season.
Third and
3 and out.
I guess we got spoiled with the with the other 2 before.
It's usually they do about 4 seasons each, 4 series each. I still contend her doctor was brilliant, her cast was great. The stories were not as good, and they're fucking with the canon again for this new season, and I don't know if I'm on board with it, but we'll see.
It's like with a heavy sigh, the showrunner, who's the new showrunner now? I can't remember.
It's a guy named Chris Chibnall
Chibnall, that's it.
Yeah, who wrote
with a heavy sigh. Chris Chibnall goes, all right, how are we gonna do a new take on the fucking Daleks?
It ain't even that. It's they're fucking with the Doctor's actual backstory, and it's like, oh, come on, just don't do that. Don't do that.
Gallifrey is playing peekaboo with the Doctor. It's there, it's not. It's in the past, it's in the future. It's
they
in
keep
the present,
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you keep things going for 35 years.
Doctor Who 60 almost.
Is it 60? Oh god, it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, there was a big break in between there, but
they lost a couple seasons, but I mean, it's been on since 63. So I mean,
a couple of years in between with a break and a couple of seasons, because some of those early ones they've been doing anime and stills with the people reading the scripts and stuff, because the episodes are lost
or they never got finished. One of them was called Shada, and it was written by Douglas Adams.
Oh, I've heard of him.
Yep, he's written. That's another thing. Speaking of which, so they're in production or beginning production for a new iteration TV series of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and I don't know if I'm ecstatic or terrified or both.
Could be good.
Well, they did. Max Landis. Was it Max Landis or Jason Reitman? It was Max Landis, I think, who turned out to be kind of a shitty person. Did
what? A shitty guy in Hollywood?
What?
I'm surprised.
Did a series of Douglas Adams's other books called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yeah.
And it was Elijah Wood and a new guy playing and a different guy playing Dirk. I mean, not it wasn't Harry Enfield who did the radio versions, but and it was a different take, and it didn't have anything to do with the books, except they kind of referenced the books, and then they built on it in true Douglas Adams-esque fashion of every iteration is going to be a different thing. Okay. Because Douglas is like, the radio series is different than the TV series, which is different than the movie, which is different than the books. And he did that on purpose. And the Dirk Gently, they did 2 seasons of it. I really dug it. Not the same production company doing Hitchhikers. And it's Carlton Cuse, who was one of the guys on Lost.
Who from Lost.
Yeah. And
the other one,
and I'm like, okay, yes. I think he might have been the better one. You know, we know our arch nemesis.
But no, you know what? I have forgiven him, because he did the Watchmen TV series, which was a goddamn masterpiece.
Yeah.
Because I went into that going, oh, Lindelof, you fucker, you're gonna screw it. And by episode 2, I was like, this is the greatest thing. And I think episode, I want to say 6 or 7 is probably one of the greatest episodes of TV ever created.
I agree wholeheartedly. I've never seen something. I mean, he also scored with the cast 100%.
Oh my God.
Making Regina King a superhero is a genius movie.
Genius. And Gene Smart, people, if you don't watch everything Gene Smart does, you're missing out on. I'm watching Hacks right now.
I was going to say she's got a new thing.
It took a little while to grow on me. She was always fine. I knew her character. I had her down pat from episode 1. The rest of the show took a little while to kind of grow on me. I mean, now I'm pretty much there.
Okay.
I'm pretty much there. Back to Watchmen for a second. I think Watchmen probably allowed a lot of people, including myself, to become aware of an event that is celebrating. We are remembering the Tulsa massacre.
Yeah.
It's 100 years. I think today or tomorrow.
It's soon, and I know that
and the whole opening, the opening 20 minutes of the first episode, they recreated the destruction of a very wealthy, prominent Black area of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I think it's called Greenwood. So. And the white people didn't like it that the African-American population was living their lives, doing fine, prospering. So they firebombed it. They executed people. They even got people with, I guess, crop dusters or planes to drop petrol bombs or turpentine bombs from the air. And they leveled like blocks and blocks of this area. And I'm watching this, I'm going, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. I
thought, is this some alternate reality?
Oh, they made this thing up. This happened.
It happened. And quite frankly, I think that opening sequence should become part of teaching. I don't know where in the curriculum you'd put this, although apparently in red states, teaching critical race theory and even history that doesn't say rah, rah, America, whites are great and we never did anything to the Black people, they're fine now.
Yeah.
Right. Is verboten. But that is it's a horrible piece of history. And I was deeply ashamed that I knew nothing about it. Zero.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
It had never been presented to me to either investigate or ignore. It just was, just something I didn't even know about. There's knowable knowns and there's unknown knowns. And this was an unknown.
And I know I read a thing today. I think there are several documentaries being.
Yep. I'm recording one tonight. It's on the History Channel. It's called Tulsa Burning.
Yep.
And the reviews I've read said this is the one. This is the best of the batch.
Okay.
So I'm taping that, and I'm just taping that. I'm old. Well, I do still have a VCR.
Yeah, you do.
But I still have some tapes I need to digitize.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the last couple of years, have really opened a lot of people's eyes, myself included. I had no idea what Juneteenth was. No concept, never taught to me, never spoken. I never came across it in writing. Now I know about it. And now I'm seeking out that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the 1619 Project, which has some issues with being accurate, but it's a good place to start. You know, it's the thing that prompted the Republicans to form the 1776 Project. That's the rah America, you know, blacks, whatever you're talking about, you know, that kind of thing. And there is a tiny rumor, just a mini ripple, that HBO is thinking about continuing in that universe, in the Watchmen universe.
Right.
Not with Lindelof. You know,
because he said
he doesn't own the rights to it. He came in, told his story, and then he fucked off.
Yeah.
Which that is, you know,
he did
if you tell your story, being forced to tell more of a story that you don't have is not
you get
right.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh God. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever. We'll throw it in. It's Spider-Man. People will love it. No.
Here's my movie. Oh yeah, okay, but do Venom. I don't like Venom. Yeah, but do Venom.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do Venom. All right, and that's
yeah, exactly. It was not you know, hey, fall into some sand that's moving quickly, and all of a sudden you're you know, but a locket will warm the heart of the sand. It is, you know, it's a lot of stupid stuff. But if they do Watchmen as like an anthology where a new person comes in and says, you now have access to these characters, do you have a story to tell? Yes, do it.
Yeah,
I'm down with that. It doesn't have to, we never have to know whether Regina King falls into the pool or walks on the water.
No, I almost prefer not knowing.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest. You know, but at the same time, it's like, God, those characters are so freaking awesome. You know, you can only de-age, you know, Jean Smart so much, but man, I want more of her. Against Lube Man.
That was weird.
that was it never really went anywhere. It was just a weird thing.
Yeah.
We kind of think that it's probably her you know, her assistant, I guess, the agent that was with her. We think that's who Lube Man is, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Lube Man is like Kite Man in, you know, The Power of Kites.
He cracks me up. Everything in that show really cracks me up.
Oh, but on a somber note, since we last recorded, we lost Jessica Walter.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And that's a big blow to fans of Archer. I don't know how that show can continue without her. I mean, they can get one season out of, you know, Archer wailing and just being moody about, you know.
Well, I heard Amber Nash, our friend who's been on this podcast, who plays Pam, she said they had already finished her stuff for the next season, like Jessica's stuff. So we get a season with Mallory.
Oh, wonderful. And maybe they can like retcon a few episodes to guide us towards where the next season after, because I think they got renewed for like 3 seasons. Like FX is just like, here's a bunch of money, make more. So I mean, maybe they can do something good with it, or maybe they can just go, let's just not without her. I mean, and I'd be fine with that if they did, like, you know, one special after this next season to kind of put a bow on the series and just walk away.
They might be able to figure it out. You don't know. They handled the actor who played his butler passed away as well a couple seasons ago, and they just they got rid of, you know, they did it very nicely. They got rid of him. Yeah, but although not the same.
Yeah, no, it's not the same. And another show that we are really TV heavy in this episode.
Yeah, you know,
man, that's what we've been watching. Have we been going to the theater?
No. I actually did see a movie in a theater this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. On my birthday, we went to our local AMC and we saw the Disney Raya and the Last Dragon movie.
Dear
animated.
God.
What do you mean, dear God? It was fine.
I haven't even heard of that film.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It's actually very good. It's the Aquafina and Kelly Marie Tran.
I tell you, Aquafina's voice is wonderful to me. I love her voice.
She plays the dragon, and
she can play anything she wants, because I didn't really know much about her until she was on SNL, and I was just going, who is this wonderful person? And that voice, she should do voice work. And then she started doing voice work, or had been.
Yeah.
So that was a wonderful thing. So you got to see movie in the theater. I have not. I have not. And
that's the only one so far.
And even though I'm vaxxed, I'm not, really feeling like I need to. A Quiet Place Part 2 looks very interesting.
Yeah.
That is a universe that I could see things. I could see a trilogy happening. But part 2 we need to learn more about these monsters.
Yeah.
I need, and apparently John Krasinski is in it in flashbacks, because obviously, spoilers, he died at the end of the first film. So, and his wife was able to hurt the monsters with a thing that should have been the first thing they tried as humans to save themselves. Like, oh my gosh, they can hear everything. Even if you crack a twig 20 miles away, they can come and get you. Like, what if we overwhelm them with loud noises? No, we can't try that.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. That's something for like pitch meeting. You ever watch pitch meetings?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, those things are brilliant. I mean, I sent Suhaila the one for Ant-Man and the Wasp. And she came back with, "Oh God!" I was like, "Yeah,
Well, it's kind of like honest trailers where they just tear it apart."
Well, honest trailers kind of pokes fun. Pitch meeting really dives in and goes, "Yes, but this completely negates your previous film," or this is not. Like the guy does his research and comes up with, "Oh yeah, I never thought about that." That's a huge plot hole or an inconsistency. What he does to the X-Men series of films is just brutal, and rightfully so. Dark Phoenix, God.
Yeah, they keep trying that.
Yes, but back to film, back to TV shows.
Yes,
I have been a huge fan, continue to be, and they're currently airing their final season, Pose.
I have not watched that.
That's another Ryan Murphy joint. Pretty much at this point, I watch anything Ryan Murphy does, because it's a very certain style. His take on Nurse Ratched, called Ratchet.
Yeah, was that any good?
No, it was not.
Oh, okay. I read that it wasn't good.
It was terrible.
It was unnecessary.
Well, no, I mean, I would like to find out what's going on with Nurse Ratched. I could say, a prequel to see what she's about. Sure. It has no connection to reality. It's alternate universe Ratchet. Let's put it that way.
I always go back to Patton Oswalt's bit about if he ever met George Lucas, and it's always like, would you like some ice cream? Sure, I'd love some ice cream. Here's some rock salt. Yeah. I don't want to know how the things I love became the things I love. Just give me the things I love.
Yeah, it's, although, hey, in the Star Wars universe, I love finding out where things came from, provided it's not the 3 prequel films.
Yes. Yes.
Enough said there. But Pose, it's about the ballroom scene in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And it tackles, repression of trans women, of gay men, of the AIDS crisis, and it's acted impeccably. And they use, I think all of them are trans actors.
Good.
I don't, but the thing is, I don't know. They all look, the women look like women and the guys look like guys, and I don't know if they're trans or not in real life. I know what they're supposed to be in the show. And I'm like, you know what? I really hope they are all trans, because this show is, if you're a trans actor, this is a show that you can shine. And there is not a bad casting decision in the whole show. It is absolutely wonderful. And apparently the pandemic just kind of knocked the network back on it, and they decided to do the next season was the last. So it's only 3 seasons and done.
Yeah.
Which maybe that was the, maybe that was the idea all along. I never get upset if the person who's doing the creating goes, my story will now end here.
Yes.
As opposed to network, end your story here, or we are now ending your story for you. That is where I get upset. So if the showrunners of Pose said we always had 3 seasons in mind and now we're telling our stories, okay. Or at the very least, the network comes and says, we can't keep this going, but we're going to give you 1 season to wrap it up.
They're at least being smarter about it.
That's a compromise. And I'm like, okay, I understand. You have to be making money, and maybe you're not making as much money, or maybe there's something else going on, or some actors are going to be released after this.
They are at least the network. They're still not great, but they're learning that you can't alienate. You lose viewers by doing that, by taking a thing and just stopping it in the middle. And
right. Well, it's a vicious cycle, because I don't want to start watching something because they might cancel it. Oh, look, no one's watching it. We're going to cancel it.
Right.
That just happened with Debris on NBC.
No, never heard of it.
Oh, very interesting. In a nutshell, an alien spaceship breaks up upon entering the Earth's atmosphere, raining debris from the ship all across the planet. And each piece of debris has weird properties, and some of the shit that it can do and what it does and how it affects people is very interesting.
Oh.
And they left it on a pretty, an okay cliffhanger. And then after it was, the season finale aired, we found out, oh, that's the series finale, and it's canceled. And part of me is just like, oh, why do I start watching anything ever until it's completely done? And then I can assess like, oh, they canceled it after 1. I'm not going to bother.
Well, circling back around, speaking of alien spacecraft and all that, have you seen a show called Resident Alien?
I have not. It's in the back of my head to like, it apparently is exceptionally funny. It's Tudyk, isn't it?
It's Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
As an alien who crashes on Earth and has to pose as a small Alaskan town doctor.
Oh, wow.
And it is brilliant. The show, it's one of those shows that's like, none of this should work. This is a dumb concept, but he makes it work.
It's Tudyk.
He's the linchpin, but the entire cast around him is also excellent. They nailed everything else around it. Even with that cast, with somebody else playing the alien, it doesn't work. He makes it work. It is absolutely where they did the whole first season. They've gotten renewed for season 2. They're doing it. So
so 2 isn't out yet.
No. They just ended the first one.
Okay.
Months ago.
It's been one of those ones that I haven't officially added to my list, but I think I should, because
trust me.
Tudyk.
It is the writing is brilliant, and he is genius. And it's like it's a very interesting, because it's like he kind of does some bad shit, but he's the hero, but you want to root for him, but and he's fucking hilarious.
Well, I love shit like that. The flawed hero. I don't want the crystal, lily white pure hero. I want a fucked up real hero. I want Batman, or I want Walter White, although he's not really the fucked up hero. He's the fucked up villain who's, you kind of root for him. That kind of thing.
Anti-hero.
Exactly.
But I promise you will appreciate that one.
All right, I'll check it out. If you promise to check out, if you haven't already, a show that I don't know why I started it. It looked, I was regretting starting it.
Okay.
And then I binged the entire first season in one night.
Okay.
Stayed up to 5:30 in the morning. Ted Lasso.
I have not watched it.
With Jason Sudeikis.
I've heard tons about it. What is it on? It's on like Apple TV, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if I have access to that, but
it'll become available somehow, some way. And
I've wanted to, because I just hear how wonderful it is.
Yeah, I was not expecting anything, and his personality is Ted Lasso personality is a little grating / endearing. You kind of walt, but it's a great cast. It's a great story.
Okay.
It ends realistically.
Okay.
And they've been renewed for a second series. So I'm on board for that. That is my recommendation for you to start that. And Pose. Get on with the Pose thing.
I think Courtney wanted to watch that. So I think that's going to be a thing that we do at some point. So I recently watched something very, very interesting. Evidently so every year in San Francisco, they do what's called Sketchfest. I'm sure you've heard of it.
No, not at all.
Oh, really? Okay. It was put together by Janet Varney and Paul F. Tompkins and that whole crowd. And it's a big
Paul F. Tompkins, the guy who single-handedly destroyed VH1's best week ever. You son of a no, but no, he's wonderful. I like him.
So they did a virtual Sketchfest last year, obviously. And are you familiar with the comedian Dana Gould?
Oh yeah.
He he's a crazy old movie buff. So what he did was he put a group of actors together and they did a Zoom staged reading of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. And it was and the way he did it was he adapted the script, and it was him, Janet Varney, Jonah Ray, Bobcat Goldthwait, Bob Odenkirk.
Odenkirk's having a moment.
Yep. And they got Lorraine Newman from Saturday Night Live and voiceover stuff to do the stage directions, and she was the funniest thing in the whole thing because he wrote the stage directions as if like a riff track almost,
Oh, wow.
And it was, it's only like an hour long, and it was very funny. It was on TCM. It was on Turner Classic Movies not too long ago, so it's probably around.
Yes, but not to me, because Comcast, my horrible provider, decided that Turner Classic Movies needed to go up to the next tier. So just to get Turner Classic Movies, I'd have to spend another, $14 something a month to get the next package or whatever it is, just to get back Turner Classic Movies.
Well, a bunch of that's on HBO anyway. Like there's a button on HBO Max anyway of GCM.
Well, so it hurts because one of my projects I've been working on for the last year or so is a goal to watch every single Best Picture nominated film, whether it won or not. And, I had watched probably, since it started in like 1929, I think, until the present, I'd watched maybe, I'm going to say 20%.
Okay. Yeah.
And that leaves a whole lot of,
that's a lot.
Mostly films prior to 1950 or so. It starts getting less and less that I've seen in any given year.
Yeah.
And not having Turner Classic Movies
makes that
really
hard.
Sucks because, so, but that's been one of my projects. I'm also trying to listen to every Grammy nominated album. Spotify is very helpful for that, but a lot of it I have in my own collection. And granted, just because it's nominated for a Grammy or an Emmy or an Oscar really means nothing, but it's part of my education of the zeitgeist of just, what's, you start with that as your foundation, which will lead you to side projects, or that director was great. What else did they do? And this and that. So, so my 3,000 films I'm behind is slowly becoming 4,000 films. And
yeah, good call.
I'm going to retire early and just devote 8 to 10 hours a day of just either reading or watching some TV shows or films or something like that. And maybe I'll be able to fit in a social life and do all that before I, die. Or before my house is finally finished.
There
that's the goal. Hiley keeps asking when. I'm like, just you think during the pandemic massive work would have been done. No, not one bit. A little bit, tiny bit. We'll see.
Oh, one other show that we watched
So
beginning to
many
end.
shows.
So many shows.
It's the pandemic TV show special.
It is
here at the podcast.
We finally started and finished Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, I watched the first season.
Yeah.
And it was okay. The only thing that even vaguely interested me was the cute girl that ran the counter at the motel, and the son,
Yeah.
the dynamic between those two.
Yeah.
And I didn't make it to season 2.
Really? Okay.
Well, the thing is that Chris Elliott's character just kills me. I just want to punch him in the face constantly.
Yes.
Because I'm rooting for the family, and he just bumbles his dumbass way. He fucked up the sale of the town at the end of season 1.
Yes.
And I just so you finished the whole thing.
Oh, we did, absolutely.
And I mean Catherine O'Hara. Is it Catherine?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
that's her name. I mean, I've loved her since I think the first introduction I had to her was Beetlejuice when I was a kid.
Probably, yeah.
There's probably something. I mean, she's done tons of stuff probably before even Beetlejuice. I'm sure.
Yeah.
But no, she's fabulous.
Yep. And Eugene Levy. Well, what was the funniest thing about that was his son on the show is his real son.
Right.
And his daughter played the waitress in the cafe.
Oh.
And there was a great line in like second episode or something where he said, I never get to see my children anymore. And they were at the diner, and she walks up and she's like, can I take your order, Mr. Rose? So stuff like that. The writing was really
well. I do remember that as far as awards go, it was totally ignored until it's the last season. Okay, we have to honor it now. And then it won everything.
And I think all 4 leads won their categories.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And best series and best everything. Yeah. I mean, it was like, all right, you put in the work, and finally it was like with Lord of the Rings. We'll nominate the film for best, but it ain't gonna win. Oh, this is the last one. It really is the best. It is the best of the 3. All right, let's give it. And got best.
Some of those are cumulative. Some of those have to be like,
right,
what they accomplished over the whole thing. This movie might not be the best picture, but the achievement of the 3 films is a stunning achievement.
And then there's things like Anthony Hopkins getting best actor over Chadwick Boseman, which was a massive upset. I mean, I thought that was a lock. I would have bet money on him winning the Oscar.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm going to see The Father, because I do like Anthony Hopkins. He probably did do an award worthy.
Sure.
But
well, did you see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was great. It was rough, but it's August Wilson, but it was, it was...
And the fact that he, did all that while being very sick.
Very sick,
and it just made you love him even more. I mean, I got really depressed when found out that he had passed away. It was like when Bowie died. You were not expecting that, because he kept it to himself. And look, there's a new album, Black Star. Oh, it's wonderful. And 2 days later, he's passed away, and you're just like, like when Prince died, you weren't expecting that.
Right.
Although he had some issues, and his last show in the world here in Atlanta,
the Fox Theater.
And I didn't get to go.
Nope, I didn't go.
That's okay.
But we did see him.
We did get to see him. We got to see him with the time.
We did indeed.
So that was pretty good. Of course, he wasn't doing any of his nasty material.
No, but it was still good. I mean,
Prince,
I got to see Prince live.
Oh yeah, just being able to say I was in the same room with Prince and he performed music.
Indeed,
I don't care what he performed, But for me, the golden period is like Controversy, Dirty Mind through the Gold Experience. That takes you all the way through 1999 and Purple Rain and the Batman soundtrack, which, by the way, people, the Batman soundtrack that Prince did is probably one of his top 4 best albums.
For sure.
Criminally underrated.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. But definitely, aside from Purple Rain, because everyone says Purple Rain, the very best Prince album is
Medication time. Medication time.
Nope, we ran out of time. I will tell you next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Beni Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Loner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Piranha Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard, and Fine. Yeah, we're both rocking the funky cold Moderna.
House Moderna.
Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast is sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? Listen, watch on YouTube, stream us on Spotify, listen on Soundcloud, stream us on Stitcher, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
LOZ!
Audio Primate.